Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Radhe Krishna. Super. Well done. So nice. Pranamo dukkha shamanah tam namami harim param. Harim param. Sanatana Dharma, we believe that there is some param porul, some parameshwara, something from which this entire universe has come. Janmadyasya Yataha. Tam Namami Harim Param. It's beautiful. On one end you keep Janmadyasya Yataha. On another end you keep Harim Param. Premi Anna once said, if you choose to believe, see, there are people who choose to believe that there is no need for a God. Those people are called Nastikas. Asti means exists. Na Asti means does not exist. The Astikas, the people who say Asti, they believe that there is some Parama Hari, some Parama Purusha, some Parameshwara, Janmadyasya Yataha, Swarat. So this universe has come from that Parama Ishvara, Parameshwara, and it draws its foundation, its support, its sustenance from that Parameshwara. And when it becomes time for Laya, it also gets Laya into that Bhagavat Swarupa. So, Pranamo Dukkha Shamanah Tam Namami Harim Param. Okay. People who are choosing not to believe in the existence of a God, they are Nastikas. They are a different group. It is fine. That is also okay. There is an Anishwaravadham argument in Vyasa Vijaya. They are separate. Even if you look at the people who believe that God exists, so many people, God is blind, God is cruel, going to punish me or punish that person. There are people who believe like that. It's not very aesthetic. We like to believe that there is a God who is kind, a God who is favorably inclined towards us, a God who is not cruel. For us to have the luxury of believing, assuming that you belong to the category of astikas, that you belong to the category of people who believe in God, it takes many things to make it comfortable, to give you the luxury of believing in a God who is kind, of believing in a God who is not cruel, of believing in a God who is favorably disposed. Premi Anna said, only our philosophy has that. Most other philosophies do not have this. They have to invent something else. They have to say that God is not impartial or God is not kind. Something they have to say. Why? Because they lack two important beliefs that are in Sanatana Dharma. First is the law of rebirth. Second is the law of karma. Suppose you want to believe that God is kind, then you have to answer the question, why is somebody born into a rich family? Why is somebody born into a poor family? Why is some child born with a pre-existing disease? Some other child is born healthy. God is cruel because randomly he assigns somebody to be born in the stomach or through the womb of a queen. Therefore, the child becomes a prince or a princess. And some other child is born through the womb of a beggar, and therefore suffering right from the time it is born. So if you want to believe, if you want to give yourself the luxury of believing in a kind God, you have to believe in something called karma. That there is some past deed that has been done for which we are getting the fruit. That alone is not sufficient. That law of karma alone is not sufficient. Because then the question arises, I understand somebody is 50 years old, 60 years old, is suffering from some disease. Maybe we can say, though papa karma. But what about a newborn child has not had time to do papa karma, punya karma? Doesn't explain why somebody is born rich or poor, healthy or sick. So many things. To therefore continue giving you the luxury of believing in a kind God, you need one more supporting belief, the belief of rebirth, punarjanma. That maybe not in this birth, maybe in some previous birth, some karmas have been done. The accumulated effect of those karmas are being experienced in this particular janma. Only if you have the belief of the law of karma and the law of rebirth, only then you will be able to permit yourself the luxury of believing in a kind God, of believing in a God who is impartial. Because if you arbitrarily assign somebody to be rich, somebody to be poor, somebody to be healthy, somebody to be sick, that is one form of cruelty. How did you decide so and so is going to be healthy, whereas so and so is going to be sick, or so and so is going to be rich, so and so is going to be poor? How did you decide? If it is random, that means it is a cruel God. But if it is not random, then you can believe in a kind, favorably disposed God. So you need two supporting beliefs. To even believe in a God existing is one thing, but within that, to believe in a kind, favorable God, you need these two supporting beliefs of the law of karma and the law of janma. Janma, karma. For him, janma and karma may be divyam. Janma karma cha me divyam. Gita here said, Janma and karma for God in Avatara may all be Divya. He is not bound by any of these laws, by the law of karma or the law of rebirth. Nothing binds him. But for all the jivas, to be able to believe in a kind God, you need these two guide rails. If these two guide rails do not exist, then it is difficult to believe in a kind, impartial God. Why all this huge avatarikai? Because even if you believe in these two things, then you will come to the question, what about all these great Mahans? What about somebody like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa? Everybody knows what a great saint this Ramakrishna Paramahamsa is. How could he have some karma that caused his body to get throat cancer? I am not very familiar with different kinds of cancers, but it is said that throat cancer is very painful kind of cancer to have. How come he has? For that, the Mahans, especially Shankaracharya, when he is explaining Jnanagni Sarva Karmani Bhasmasat Kurute Arjuna, there is one shloka in Gita. It says, the moment you get the experience of true jnana, all your past karmas are burned. Even Premayana says, imagine that the past karma is like a huge warehouse This person has been collecting karma over so many janmas. It's a huge warehouse, but it's a warehouse of cotton. So if one small match is struck, the match of jnana, that fire falls into this warehouse, the entire cotton warehouse is burnt up. No more cotton left. Similarly, all the karma is burnt, Still, some of these jnanis, they seem to suffer some things. How do we understand that? So for that, they give us the example of a master archer. Archery? Sometimes even here children, or even in Olympics, there is archery, I think. Archery. Bow is there. Arrows are there. So the archer is very focused. His eyes see only the target. So imagine an archer holding a bow beautifully aligned towards a particular target. He has drawn one arrow from his quiver. The quiver has many arrows. Tunira, they say in Sanskrit. Quiver has many arrows. From there, he has drawn one arrow and he's pulled the string back, aimed at that particular target, and he has let the arrow fly. Then he has removed a second arrow from the quiver. He has placed it on his bow. The first arrow is flying towards the target. There is a second arrow on the bow ready to be released. And then there's a bunch of arrows still left in the quiver. Understood this picture? One arrow is flying. One arrow is ready on the bow, ready to be released. And many, many arrows on the quiver. They say karma is of three kinds. The arrow that is already flying, in flight, is called prarabdha karma. The arrow that has been mounted on the bow, ready to be released, is called agami karma. And all the arrows that are, so many arrows on your quiver, is called sanchita karma. In Jnanagnis Sarva Karmani Bhasmasat Kurute Arjuna, in that shloka, Shankaracharya says the moment somebody has this experience of jnana, it can burn up all the karmas, but it only burns up sanchita karma and agami karma. Because sanchita karma, the archer can decide, I will just keep the quiver down. These arrows will not be used. So sanchita karma can be avoided. Or this arrow which is already mounted on the bow, not yet released, that he can say, I won't release this arrow. So that can be kept down. So agami karma can be avoided. But the arrow in flight is already in flight. That is going to go and hit the target. That is called prarabdha karma. Okay. So the general explanation is that some jnanis, you may see, they have physical suffering. They may not have suffering inside because they are already thinking this is body, it doesn't matter to me. I am Atma Swarupa. Krishna is taking care of that. Radha Devi is leading me. Ya Krishna Sangama Sukam Sulabham Sakhibhya Prita Prayachati Sudurlabham Ishwaranam. So I know where I am going. So they may not care, but their body is still undergoing that suffering. The way to understand that is, it is prarabdha karma. Sanchita karma has been avoided. Agami karma has been avoided. But prarabdha karma is being experienced. In the chapter we are going to read today, Krishna is going to not just change sanchita karma, not just change agami karma, but he is going to change prarabdha karma also. He has the power, even though the rule is prarabdha karma cannot be changed. Even then, if he wants, he can change prarabdha karma also. That is the beauty of the chapter, that we are going to read today. Kamsa Vadam has happened already. 44th chapter. This is 45th chapter. Not just Prarabdha Karma, that is there, but big blessing of Krishna showing us that the best way to get all the material welfare, all the spiritual welfare that you need, all the ascension that you need, iha, para, sukham, all that is given through the grace of a guru. Guror anugrahenaiva puman purnaha prashantaye. The sloka is coming later, but that is being shown in this particular chapter, chapter 45. Krishna is going to speak with his parents, going to speak with Nanda Baba. He is going to get Upanayanam done, and he is going to go and seek a guru, Sandhipini. All those things are described in the chapter that we are reading today.